Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Now today is the day that I finally addressed something that I probably should have earlier, but let's face it, the only reason this entire situation has not gotten more coverage is, well, number one, because we largely have Kabam content creator community around, and as well as the fact that most of the content creators are not really affected by this because they have long since gotten all the mastery points, and the Act 4 mastery point debacle wasn't a personal issue to any single one of the content creators that I'm aware of. And therefore, somehow, as a community, we have let this drag on for far too long. And at this point, just like some other things this month, this is getting quite funny and laughable to a point if it wouldn't be a genuine hassle. So, on top of it all, one of the reasons why I'm making this video right now is, other than the fact that I feel as if I should have probably made this video at least a couple of times over the last few months, because, again, it's been way too long this issue has taken place. I think we're closing in on 9 months now, maybe more. Close. I don't know, when was the Act 4 revamp? It feels like forever ago either way. I was living a completely different life back then. And additional thing that just came to light is the fact that, surprise, surprise, Kabam mucked it once again. And I cannot make this up. Like, I genuinely cannot make this up. Leave it up to Kabam to, have a lack of insight or oversight when they're doing something by creating problem themselves. The problem they created is that they moved the mastery points from exploration rewards to completion rewards, and a lot of people effectively missed out because they had completed the content and had not explored the content. All of that could have been completely avoided if they just left the mastery points where they are. Felt the need to move them without thinking of the ramifications, thus created the problem. Now, the problem has persisted again for a very, very lengthy period of time, showing that Kabam has had very little interest in resolving the issue, because I don't care what anybody tells me. Something like this is something that can be addressed with putting extra manpower in it. Even if you cannot come up with a perfect automated system, how to make sure that everybody gets their points set up, you could have easily hired 2 or 3 interns, quite literally high schoolers, to go through Excel spreadsheets and manually check players' mastery points to any person who has, Act 4 recently explored or had completed and had not explored. I'm sure you can do some sort of data graph with, 40, 50,000 lines, pay some interns for 1 month to do nothing, but go through some spreadsheets to compare again the accounts with, mastery points, how many they should have and how many they do have. And I have had to do things like that in past when I was working in administration and logistics. There were times when there was no better substitute for just, grabbing a coffee, staying over the weekend, getting in some overtime, and just manually go over a couple thousand, line-long Excel spreadsheets, just manually check that everything's on point. And some mistakes happen, yeah, of course they do, but, you pretty much sort out the problem. And they haven't done it. And that is, I don't care what anybody says. It's not a lack of some sort of technical limitations. It's a lack of will, a lack of desire, a lack of accountability towards the players that they have screwed over. They just don't think that's important enough to get addressed in timely manner. And therefore, we are here right now where we stand. And surprise, surprise, they have somehow yet again made the situation even worse. And at this point is where I said, no, this has to be addressed, because I do want to shine some more light into it. I do want community to put on some more pressure at Kabam, even if it doesn't necessarily, inconvenience you directly, even if everything is fine with your own mastery points. Consistent and repeated behavior like this, where Kabam just prioritizes the ease of life with band-aid solutions for themselves and do not take accountability for the things that they screw up, is something that is getting out of hand. We see that with Nick Fury's situation, we see that with the Battlegrounds. No change when they're unable to fix the meta. They just randomly change the node and screw everybody who ranked up champions specifically for that meta. We see that with random things like Gallon being bugged for like a year now without, he had 9 incinerates when he came out. All of a sudden, for like last year or so, he's having 7 incinerates, and Kabam still apparently is unable to fix such a simple thing. And this is just another example of Kabam being completely unaccountable to their own mistakes and just, showing very, very little regard for their players. And to explain what is happening right now, we have people receiving extra mastery points, the ones that weren't missing anything. So now we have somebody here with like 61 mastery point, which is one too many. Which is one too many from the maximum that you can have in game. Now, my mastery points are perfectly in order. I have the maximum available mastery points in the game. I have the mastery point from Necropolis and from all the other pieces of content as they were coming out. And I'm sitting at 60. This player is sitting at 61. And by the way, this is nothing against the players, not his fault, nothing like that. He got an extra mastery point, let him have fun with it whilst he can. If Kabam chooses to take away, which I think they will, but, whatever. It's absolutely nothing on the guy who has too many mastery points now. But there we go. He has 61 total. I have 60 with Necro. There you go. He has 61 point. And then we have Kabam response, which again, is one of those things. So let's go over the Kabam response and then see what we think about it. Hey Summoners, the team is very aware of this and actively working to resolve it. Well, not actively enough though. Let's be real. How actively can you work on to resolve a mastery point issue that has been dragging on for like well over half a year now? The knock-on effect from attempting to get out missing mastery points post-Act 4-5 revamp, as many are aware, this has been a long, frustrating process both for the game team and the impacted players. The result of working on a very historied-old framework of the game that's almost a decade old. The team will work to revert the accounts with additional point and will continue attempting to navigate distributing mastery points to the impacted account. Absolutely understand the frustration around these missing mastery points. Thank you for your patience thus far. Here's the deal, though. They're making this way more complicated than it should be. There's a very simple, in my opinion, just approach to this. Just redistribute mastery points to pretty much everybody and just, have these checks, whether the account has completed Necro, whether the account has completed Explored Act 4, whether the account, is level 60, and all that stuff, and just compare that with the amount of total mastery points that everybody has, and anybody that has a discrepancy in their mastery points, adjust them. It can't be that hard, regardless how old the game is. No. If you can do any data download, which they can, from the game, you can solve this. For sure you can solve this. And it's like, it's just not good enough. It's one thing that we're actively working to resolve. It's like, I don't believe it. It's like, just like they're actively working to fix Gallon's Incinerate bug. No, they're not. Just like they were actively working to fix the node in the last BG meta. No, they weren't. They just changed the meta. After it already had started, after people had ranked up champions. And now, forcing people to play with missing mastery points for like half a year, yeah, it's frustrating, penalizing. These players have done nothing wrong. And, there is no way under the sun that you can convince me if this was taken seriously, it couldn't be resolved within like a couple of weeks or a month. As I said, hire some interns, let them go through, data manually or whatever else, if you cannot figure out a smarter way to do it. Again, situations like this, they do not ever speak about the lack of capability. Where there is a will, there will be a way. And this is far from a thing that's impossible to do in a shorter time frame. And here we are. This is a lot of these bugs and a lot of these problems and situations that genuinely make me laugh. They're funny. Like, the entire game goes dark, It was funny. Nick Fury being bugged in 79 different ways every month in a row. It's funny at this point. It is. And some of these things are frustrating because you don't even get the impression that they are trying. They're effectively, like, you get the impression that they're giving it, like, the minimum possible effort. Like, if at end of the month somebody doesn't have enough things to do, or they can find a couple of hours, somebody's going, okay, I'm going to look into it or something. That is the type of situation here. Until, you know, Kabam can actually kind of like explain themselves properly, which they never do. And here we are. So people are obviously joking about it. There are plenty of other threads on the topic, you know, and they're going to get the mastery points in Act 4, like we're getting them in 2030 or something like that. And those are very viable and justified jokes at this point. Just want to let you know that we are working on a fix for those affected. Yeah, right. Like, working on a fix. So here we go. This working on a fix affected was in August. August. So, September, October, November, December, January, even February. That's half a year. It is always this. Oh, we did not forget about this. It's like, yeah. In September, he said he didn't forget about it, and it's still not resolved in February. And then Mike is obviously doing a personal vendetta hunting there as well. But this isn't, you know, a yearly problem. Additionally, last thing that I will finish this post on, the very last thing that I will say, I have a very good feeling that if Kabam actually had done what they repeatedly told us that they will, as in Masteries 2.0, this would not have been an issue to begin with. If they had actually revamped the Mastery system, updated the ease of use for players, somehow automated it, right? Gave us more tools, because this game's Mastery system is archaic. It has never seen an overhaul ever. And Kabam promised us, like, what, 4 years ago that they will? That they're working on it. And every time we ask them, they're still working on it. And this is a perfect example of Kabam, you know, again, not doing something which later has knock-on effects like this. It's just, you know, there's this perfect clip that I keep referring to.
You've got to do better.
Kabam.
They really do. I mean, like, they really, really do need to do better with these things. And they do need to do right by the players, which they are absolutely not doing. And here we are. Let me know what you guys think of this entire mastery point situation, and I'm going to catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about